Hey guys, it's Christina. How's it going? Before we start the video, I have to show you my t-shirt. It is so cute. I got it from a student. But it says, "Teaching is a walk in the park." Isn't that so cute? I love it. So anyway, I thought it was really fun. But I'm very excited to share some tips today that have to do with classroom management. This is one of my strengths. It's something that I try to improve on every year, and I feel like it's so important. So I want to do a whole video on it. So these are some things I have done for classroom management. First of all, I just want to say classroom management is so important. If you don't have classroom management, it's going to be hard to teach the rest of the stuff you need to teach. So I feel like it is so important. It's like the foundation. And if your foundation is a little off and it's not quite there, your teaching isn't quite going to work out the way it could. So if you're a really good classroom manager, I feel like you'll be able to teach better, you'll be more organized, and you'll be able to have more things in place. All right, so it's important to know how you're going to get your class's attention in some way. So I think it's important before the school year even starts to have that and know what you're going to do and stick to that. You can change it up throughout the year. It's just a little bit tougher, but you can do that. So for me, there's a few different things I like to do. So I just do the simple like 3, 2, 1, 0. And once I hit 0, I expect them to be quiet at that point. So when I count down, it gives them time to wrap up their conversations and finish things. And if they're still not done, they're still talking, I'll start counting up. And that could represent taking away something, or maybe you're doing teacher points and class points, and that's how many points you're going to get as the teacher. Or for me, that represents how many minutes I'm going to take off their recess. I mean, I'm not a huge fan of taking away a lot of recess, but usually if you only do this for like you start this for a week or two, usually they get it and they don't want these minutes taken off. The worst I've taken off is like 5 minutes. So, and they still have a pretty long recess. So I still give them time. I know that's a big thing, but anyway, that's one way you can get their attention. I also bought a doorbell last year. I never used it. I should, but I think I'm going to use it next year, and I'm going to use a doorbell for transitions to know like, okay, time to switch, or like a 5-minute warning or something like that. Another thing I've done is I'll put a timer up on the board for them to see, and the timer counts down. And so when it hits 0, they kind of like wrap things up at that point. And a lot of times they'll look towards me to know like what to do next. Or you could do like the class, yes. There's a lot of different fun things you could do with your class as well. So I think another thing that's really important is to know how you're going to keep your class at a certain noise level throughout your lessons. I think that's important to establish too. So for me, I like to do the noise sign, and I talked about that in my classroom, my top 10 classroom must-haves. I've talked about it in that, so you'll have to refer to that video. But I've also seen people do where, you know, they tell them what noise level they want to be at, their class to be at, and they'll put like the little light up button next to it. It's so cute. I think I might do that maybe this year. Or I've seen people do like on their computer, there's a way you can monitor noise levels and you can project it onto, you know, the board for them to see. So there's different things that you could do, but some way to manage the noise level with your class. I think it's important to know, or let them know, how you want things to go with them walking through the halls or lining up, and then having them practice it. So the first day, the first week, I have them practice it quite a bit, and I tell them exactly what I want. And I think they think I'm a little bit picky, but once you like really get things down with them, it'll just become routine to them. And if you see them slacking off or doing things they're not supposed to, have them practice, compliment those that are doing things they're supposed to. Don't let things slip too much. So for me, I think it's so important to set that expectation and making sure like staying at the expectation. So it's also really important to let them know what you expect for cleaning up at the end of the day. So usually the first week of school, I leave more time because I really like to explain it more. Then after that, it ends up being about 5 minutes, unless it's a Friday, which usually takes about 10 because they clean out their desks. If you want to see more of what I do for expectations of cleaning up, I actually have a full video on that. You'll have to check that out as well. Sorry, I know I'm referring to a lot of other videos, but if you want more detail, those are available as well. But Anyway, usually I'll run them through everything I expect. I even have room inspectors that make sure the areas are looking really good. And yeah, they usually know what I expect after training them quite a bit. So I think the big key for having really good classroom management is training. So training them on what you want, especially the first little bit of school. So the first day, the first week, the first month, training is so important. All right, so I actually want to come up with a whole video on this. I've shared a little bit, but having some kind of a classroom rewards program I think is really great, especially if you want to have more of a positive classroom atmosphere. You want to have something in place. So I might do a video where I share some of my different things I have done, but pick something that you really like to do. You can rotate different things throughout the year, or I've seen some teachers keep the whole thing for the whole year. I personally like to switch it up just because I like to have new things, and I feel like it helps the kids stay like more entertained with different things, and it makes it like new and fresh. So make sure you have a rewards system in place. It's also important to have whatever consequences you're gonna have for different situations in place as well. So the very first week of school, maybe the first few days even, I explain what kind of consequences I have in place if they're not following my directions on something. So for me personally, I have it posted, and what I like to do is the first thing I do is give them some kind of a warning, and I'll be very clear with them, and I'll say, this is your warning. Please do not call out anymore. And after I give them the warning, I'll then move to the second thing, which is taking some kind of a reward from them. So if we were doing like a class money system or points, then I would take some of that from them. And usually I push more positive than this negative stuff, but it is important to have this stuff in place as well, because sometimes the other stuff, you need something else to back it up, I guess you could say. The third thing I do after I take a reward is I will then have them fill out a think sheet, and it's a sheet that has them go through and think about, you know, what they were doing. It's kind of like a little timeout in a way. It's a way for them to like ponder what's going on and to think about it. And then they take it home and get it signed. The fourth thing after that, if they are still struggling a lot, I'll either like send an email, like do a phone call, or maybe even have them see the principal if needed. So a lot of times will make adjustments from these four things, but that's what I typically do. For example, sometimes what I'll do is I'll give them a warning, and sometimes that will work and it'll be fine. But maybe the next day I notice I give them a warning again, or you know, maybe I'm starting to take rewards from them, you know. And if I'm starting to see this constant pattern happening with them, I'll think, okay, something needs to change with them. So maybe I'll move them to a different area of the room. Maybe that's when I'll send an email out, or maybe if it's a pretty big problem, I'll do some kind of a behavior contract with them, which is awesome. It's a way for them to change their behavior. It's like a goal setting type of a thing. So anyway, all right, I can definitely keep going. This video could be very long. As usual, I like to keep my videos shorter. So if you want more on this, just let me know, comment down below, or if you have anything that has helped you, also comment. So hopefully a lot of these things help you out. I know for me, these are things that have really worked for me over the years and I've really liked. So I wanted to get this video out there. I know it's starting to be summer for a lot of us, but I know for me, I like to think about my upcoming year and the expectations I'm gonna set and the procedures I want to put in place. So I hope this will help out for the new year. All right, thank you so much, and I hope that you have a great day.